All right, welcome to what I believe is the last section in Chapter 7. We're going to start talking about this idea of inverses. And the main thing you need to remember about inverses are that they are angle finders. They help us find our angles. Okay. The objective is to use and to understand the idea of inverses in respect to trig functions and angles. Okay, and that will make more sense when we do some examples. All right, so page 1, finding angles using the calculator. Okay, so now they're going to give us the tangent, and they now want us to find the angle. Okay, so how we do this is we use our calculator. Okay, and if you notice, right above sine, cosine, tangent, there will be, it says sine to the negative first, cos to the negative first, and tan to the negative first. That means inverse. That negative first power means the inverse, which means it does the opposite of what we've been doing. So if I go to mode, I see my calculators in degrees. Okay, so now when I go back and I hit second tangent for my first problem, and I type in 2, what this is going to do is it's going to find us the angle that has a tangent of 2. Okay, so it's going to help us find the angle that has a tangent of 2. And this is in degrees since our calculator is in the degree mode. So 63.4 degrees would be our first answer. So 63.4 degrees. Now, if I go back to my calculator and I change my mode to radians, this will now give us our answer in radians. So second tangent of 2, and it's 1.1 radians. 1.1 rads. Okay, so this will do the same thing for the problem on the right here. So now let's do our radian measure for cosine, so I don't have to switch my calculator back. So second cosine 0.675. This is going to tell us what angle has a cosine of 0.675. So 0.83 radians. So 0.83 radians. So now if I go back to my calculator and I change my mode to degrees, it will now give us our angle measure in degrees. So second cosine 0.675, close the parentheses, enter, 47.5 degrees. Okay, 47.5 degrees is our answer. Okay, so next, we can also use inverses to find angles using the unit circle. So what this question is asking us is, what angle has a sine of square root of 2 over 2? Okay, so a couple things we have to remember with this. Remember, sine deals with y values. So if I look at all these y values on the unit circle, which ones have a square root of 2 over 2 as my answer? Okay, so I'm going to find all the ones that have a sine of square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so here's one. And the angles are 45 and pi over 4. Here's negative root 2 over 2. That's not going to work. Negative root 2 over 2. And here's another one, positive root 2 over 2. And the angles are 3 pi over 4 or 135. So I'm going to do 135 or 45 degrees. So if you notice, there are two angles that have a sine of root 2 over 2. And notice that they both have the same reference angle. 135 has a reference angle of 45. And 45 also has a reference angle of 45. So that's not a coincidence. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, so why are there two? And how do we figure out which one the actual answer is? Because if I go back to my calculator and I want to know what angle has a sine of square root of 2 divided by 2, it gives me an answer of 45. Well, why didn't it give me an answer of 135? Okay, so that's the question. How do I know which one of these two is the actual answer? Okay, well, this restriction page on this next slide will help us determine what is what. Okay, so if we look at sine and tangent, these two go together. Sine and tangent inverses are restricted to the right-hand side of the unit circle. Okay, so the right-hand side of the unit circle is sine, and the same thing with tangent. Tangent and sine go together. Okay, those answers must be on, for finding inverses, must be on the right-hand side of the unit circle. The one that's different is cosine. Cosine's different. cosine is the top half of the unit circle. Okay, so that is how you determine where your angle should be located. All right, so now if we go back to this answer, so remember sine is the right hand side. If we go back to the unit circle, we're trying to find sine, and there's two answers, 45 and 135. Okay, so how do we determine which one is the actual answer? Well, whatever one is on the right hand side of the unit circle. Okay, so which one was? For this one it was the 45, and that is why your calculator shoots out an answer of 45 degrees. Okay, let's look at another one. What angle has a cosine of negative root 3 over 2? And so remember, cosine are x values. So where's our x value of negative root 3 over 2? Okay, so here's one. So that would be 5 pi over 6 or 150. And where's another one? Okay, sorry about that. Here is another one, negative root 3 over 2. So 7 pi over 6 or 210. Are there any others? If I look, here's a positive root 3 over 2. No more, positive root 3 over 2. So these are the only two that have a negative root 3 over 2. So which one is it, 150 or 210? So let's go back to our, remember we're dealing with cosine. Let's go back to our restrictions. Cosine is the top half of the unit circle. So my answer is going to be 150 degrees. Okay, based off the restrictions. All right, so here's another one. Here's a little tougher one. What angle has a tangent of negative 1? So remember, tangent is y divided by x. So our y value divided by our x value. Okay, so let's look at all that. Let's cancel out which ones we can. 1 divided by 0 is undefined. That doesn't work. Negative 1 divided by 0 doesn't work. 0 divided by 1 is 0. That doesn't work. 0 divided by negative 1 doesn't work. Root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2 does not equal negative 1. So all of the ordered pairs, they have different numbers for y and x. Those aren't going to work. So all of these, they have different numbers. Okay, so I have, now let's look at here. Root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2, remember it's y over x, is positive 1. That's not going to work because we need a negative 1. Negative root 2 over 2 divided by positive root 2 over 2 is equal to negative 1. So here's one possible answer. Negative root 2 over 2 divided by negative root 2 over 2 is positive 1. That doesn't work. And then, so here's our other one. Positive root 2 over 2 divided by negative root 2 over 2 is 3 pi over 4 or 135. Okay, so let's look at our restrictions now. Let's go back to our restrictions. Tangent is the right-hand side. So which two of these two are on the right-hand side? 315 or 135? If you notice, 315 is on the right-hand side. So my answer is 315 degrees, or the radians would be 7 pi over 4. And I get that right for my unit circle. Okay. All right, so next type of problem that you're going to see in the inverse section is finding approximate answers. So this is the way you do it using the approximate. So if it says approximate, we're going to use our calculator. Okay, so approximate equals calculator. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the calculator, and we're going to do these problems here. Okay, the first one says, now, going way back to middle school, order of operations say I need to do my parentheses first. So I'm going to do my parentheses first. So the parentheses say inverse tangent of 2/3. So I'm going to type in tan inverse of 2 divided by 3. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, 33.69. Okay, so this parentheses is equal to 33.69. And now what does it want the answer of now? So now it wants the cosine of 33.69. So I'm going to go back. Cosine of 33.69 has an answer of 0.832. 0.832. There's my approximate answer. Decimals are approximates. Okay, let's do number 7. Go back to the calculator. Let me get rid of what's there. First, the parentheses say cos inverse of negative 2 divided by 5. Hit enter. So that's my inside, 113.58. So the parentheses are 113.58, and it wants the cosecant of that now. So remember, cosecant goes with sine, so I need to do 1 divided by sine of 113.58. Okay, so sine and cosecant go together. So 1 divided by sine of 113.58. And that gives us an answer of 1.09. Okay, so 1.09 is our approximate. Okay, so that's how you do approximate answers using the calculator. Okay, now we're not always going to use or find approximate answers. We're going to find exact answers. And I'm going to input a word here, not using calculator. Okay, we're going to use our brains and our knowledge to find the exact answers. Okay, so let's first look at the parentheses. First, I'm going to draw an order or XY table because we're going to need to find out where we're located. The inside tells us where we're located. Okay, so it says tan inverse is 2/3. So we're starting with tangent. So let's go back to our restrictions. Tangent is the right-hand side. Okay, so we can automatically cancel out the second and the third quadrant. So our triangle is either going to be in the first or the fourth. Okay, now, so remember, tangent is y over x. So it's a positive. So it's telling you that the 2 and the 3 are both positive. In order to get a positive fraction, they both have to be positive or they both have to be negative. So let's look at the first. X is positive, y is positive. The fourth quadrant, x is positive, but y is negative. So that would give us a negative tangent. Okay, so our triangle is in the first. And our y value is 2, and our x value is 3. Okay, so what does it want now? The inside is only going to tell us where it's located in 2 of our sides. The outside is what is going to give us our answer. So basically, we need to find the radius here. Okay, so we're going to use x squared plus y squared equals r squared. X squared is 3 squared, so 9 plus y squared is 4 equals r squared. 9 plus 4 is 13. So hopefully you can see that r is square root of 13. Okay, so remember our theta is the angle nearest the origin. So what does it want? It wants cosine of theta. Remember, cosine is x over r. So what's our x value? Our x value is 3. Our r value is square root of 13. And we have to get rid of that, so root 13 over root 13. On top I have 3 root 13. And on the bottom I have 13. Okay, so there is my exact answer, not using decimals. Okay, so that's pretty much it. There is one more example. I would like you to do this one, do on your own. And we'll go over that in class. Make sure you understand this. So the inside tells us location. The outside is the answer. Okay, so that's what it tells us. Do the inside first, figure out what quadrant you're in, and then the outside will give you your answer. Okay, hopefully that makes some sense. That's inverses in a nutshell. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night, and we'll work on this a little bit more in class.